Hey y'all, Binks here, and welcome to Overexplained, the series where we go in as much detail as possible, talking about every single decision on every single turn, so we can get a little bit better at explaining Snap, and maybe you can learn a thing or two about how my mind works and how I go through my process to try and make the best play possible on every single turn. And this month, I definitely had to bring out Star-Lord, Master of the Sun. This card is everywhere, and it's just taking over. The 4 energy 5 power with on reveal. Next turn, get +1 energy for each turn you've ended with unspent energy. This gains that much power. Now, I hadn't played this card in about a week. I played it the first few days it was out, but then once it took over the meta, you know me, I'm someone who likes to play rogue decks. I try not to play just like the flavor of the month and this really powerful card. But I feel it's very important to learn and understand these super powerful meta decks if you want to try and beat them. The deck that I chose to highlight this card is one of the most played versions of it on Untapped. And I did make one change. I changed the Sunspot over to a Daredevil, which I think is just an incredibly devilish inclusion, no pun intended, for this deck, because you're already just kind of like passing and chilling on the early turns, and those final turns are so important to you. So being able to play Daredevil on turn 3 while floating, then you play your Star-Lord, and then you know if your opponent's going to try and counter you. If your opponent plays Super Giant, you're going to know what they're hiding behind Super Giant. If you're in a mirror, you're going to know how your opponent's getting set up, so you can try and set up and control priority on the final turn. It is a really nasty inclusion that I love in this deck. But the basic premise of these Star-Lord decks is that you're going to try and float turns 1 through 3, just kind of cheeking things out. You can play Luna on turn 3 because it is going to allow you to float on turn 4 when you play Star-Lord, end up in the same spot with a little bit of extra energy to work with on those turns. And then after you play the Star-Lord, you're going to want to replicate his effect. We have 3 different ways to do that. We can use Zola to copy him and send him a couple other places. I actually didn't use Zola too terribly much in my playthrough in these 10 games that you're going to see ahead, but I do think that Zola is a very powerful combo piece, especially like on that turn 5, because you're going to know what your opponent's going to do if you get the Daredevil down. Grandmaster is the cheapest way to replicate it, and then we have the Absorbing Mana as well. Another inclusion that started to get added into this deck is Wave, which is just crazy powerful on turn 5 if you can get it off, like playing Star-Lord on 4 into Absorbing Man Wave. That's going to allow you to have usually 10 energy on that final turn with a wave down, so you can play 2 giant threats to just dismantle your opponent, hopefully. And then for the bigger cards that we have, Fin Fang Foom is obviously like the dominant giant card that you can have. No card really gets bigger than it. Red Hulk is great in the mirror, and there's just, you know, it's just one of the biggest cards you can get. It's just like kind of an added benefit that it's so good in the mirror. Alioth, because especially with Daredevil, we're going to be fighting for priority really hard in that final turn to be able to shut them down. And then Legion is an interesting inclusion in here that's gotten a lot more popularity to be able to stop Limbo decks and be able to, especially again with Daredevil, get some really nasty plays set up, as you will see ahead. But the deck is really solid. There's a lot of different flavors of this. And before you get your pitchforks up of getting mad at telling me how to help people play this deck, you know, I always think you should keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And I think that understanding the thought process of someone will have while playing this deck will actually help you play better against it. And not only that, but there were some absolutely incredible plays from my opponent that you can learn from too, as you might end up seeing with this Cube Rate. Because we did go 8-3. The 10th game, as you'll see ahead, was like an immediate retreat from the opponent, so I did play an 11th game. I usually play 10 games for this series, but only +2 cubes with an 8-3 record. And that big, massive play that you're going to see in the future is going to be why. Really solid, powerful deck. If you're still trying to climb, a deck like this is probably the best thing that you can do until some nerfs or adjustments come down on Star-Lord, Master of the Sun. Just a really strong deck that can even do well when you miss Star-Lord on 4, just by pumping energy and using Daredevil to clip ahead. So really strong, really powerful deck. I had a lot of fun with these 10 games, and I'm really loving this series for Overexplained. So please, any constructive criticism you can give on either my plays or my thought processes or how I'm explaining things, if there's things that maybe I'm missing and not talking about enough or anything like that, how I can help improve this content, please leave some comments below. I'm trying to be really open to constructive criticism with this and trying to get better, because I love just sitting down and taking about an hour to try and play a deck at the highest possible level and sharing it with y'all. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to hit the like button. Check down below, make sure you subscribe. Catch you live at twitch.tv/Binks_plays. Enjoy. You peace. Colosso, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Pretty easy turn one here. Double pass by me and my opponent. We do get Jim Hammond down. So Miniaturized Lab Middle is going to rob us of any ability to Grandmaster. But we do have Starlord and Absorbing Man both ready to rock here. Let's get the Jim Hammond rocking. Fighting for left is going to be important. I would say this is the hot location today, which is a bit of a nothing burger, but can be rather important. It's less important for me, mostly because I have a lot more points. I guess I could technically get middle with Legion if I really wanted to, but that doesn't really seem like something I would put too terribly much effort into. Triskelion is going to mess some things up here. Very interesting. I think Zombie Mr. F is just like a completely fine play here. Just in case we do any weird Grandmaster lines, we'll play him over on the right. We'll just float as much energy as we can. Maybe we take priority if they play a card that's 2 power or less, right? Potentially. See, Cape Bishop, it is absolutely not going to be one that is 2 power or less. So let's metagame here. Let's really think about this, right? If my opponent, they're playing things like Nightcrawler, Hawkeye, they're probably expecting a Starlord here, especially after a Jim Hammond. And most likely you're going to want to fight for Grand Prix, right? So I think that there's a decent chance that we could see a Cosmo get slammed down over on the left. So I think that we're going to metagame that, expect them to expect me to play left, and instead play Starlord right, even though I already have an on-reveal active there. We'll see what we can do with that. Cape Bishop can definitely be an issue. There's some very annoying things that Cape Bishop can do against us, but I don't even know how many arrows they ended up getting there. Maybe they did get 2, but then they would have missed them another draw. See the Maverick come down to the left. Okay, not something we're overly scared about. Maverick, Captain America. This must be some kind of Shu Lao. This must be some type of Shu Lao we're facing here. Opponent did get some extra energy. Man, we don't have that much value available to us outside of a single Absorbing Man. That's a bit tough. Is there any reason we go away from our normal game plan? I don't think so. I think we still just play Absorbing Man. And then what else do we play, man? Maybe a Mantis over on the left could hit the spot. And then hope that we get priority here still. It's really going to depend. We do have priority now, which is great. But the Eliath can be pretty game-breaking later. There is a chance that we should be playing the Eliath this turn. But I really think that the Absorbing Man is going to give us better value. And I haven't snapped this game, and there's probably an argument that I should have at this point. Actually, you know what? I'm going to play the Mantis over on the right, because very likely they're moving the shield over here. I would like to get some value out of the Mantis. There's a chance I could get a card that I would really be happy with. We will see, I suppose. Opponent fully fills left and right, but obviously that's not kind of the whole end-all be-all of what they're doing. A 9 power Absman. Mantis is going to get a grapple arrow for us. We do see Shu Lao on the Maverick. Okay, very scary here. A lot of points that we have to get through, but they are locked in right. They don't have anything else they can really do. As long as we use a grapple arrow, we should be able to win there. No priority, however. So with 10 energy, there's a few different things we could do. We could do Celine... grapple Zola. We could do Foom grapple Zola. Lots of different ways that we could go about this. The opponent having priority here, I actually have a line that I think is going to be really tough to beat for our opponents. We go Celine middle. We go Foom middle. This is going to block any kind of detritus that the opponent might throw my way in regards to like a Negasonic or something like that. We can play the grapple arrow right, which would tie right, but then the Mr. F will actually get us over the top there. There's a chance there's like an Absman that crushes us here. I think outside of them having Absman to rebuff up that right Shu Lao, I feel like we're going to be in a good spot. The other play would be Zola middle. I don't think I'm going to play around Absman. If they have Absman, I just have to say GG's. That's a really tough thing for me to beat. I think we just lock in here and hope that we're going to have enough raw power to get over the top. The Absman is kind of scary, though. There's definitely... No, because the grappler was played next. I actually don't have to worry about Absman. Okay, this play should, like, always win. Like, there's certainly a way that can get enough points middle, but it's going to be pretty darn hard. Yeah, they hit the first one. So outside of Cosmo, they're in so much trouble here. Yeah, that's tough, man. You really should have thought about Fin Fang Foom before you made that play. Definitely missed the Fin Fang Foom there. Gotta give credit to that card. Then we'll juice ourselves up nice and good there. Very, very well played top to bottom. I think that we made some good callouts there. We got a little worried about something that couldn't happen, but not too shabby. Maybe there's an argument that we should have found a position to snap earlier, but I'm very happy with 2 cubes. GG's. Moogs! Welcome to the stream, Moogs. Best of luck to you here on the field of battle. Moogs tends to like a lot of different weird decks. Mostly their kind of signature Galactus Firehair deck. So hopefully something like this Daredevil can cause some real problems for them. The Vault can also cause some issues. With our only way to re-trigger Star-Lord being Grandmaster in hand, I think we do just give up on Sakaar Grand Prix and instead push for the Star-Lord right. And then we're actually going to have... Ooh, man. We're going to have everything here, man. This is going to be really scary for our opponent. I actually kind of want to go Star-Lord left with the Daredevil online. And I do want to snap here. So I'm going to snap and play Star-Lord left. I'm really looking at that Legion right play. I think that it is going to be extremely devilish. They're scared. They're scared. So yeah, we're going to go Star-Lord left, and then we're going to have, you know, quite a bit of energy to deal with to see if we can actually find a win with Legion. And we're going to know, which is the crazy thing here, having the Daredevil online. We're just literally going to know straight up whether or not we can beat this. There's going to be an argument if we have to start worrying or thinking about Jeff at all. But, man, this is going to be a really, really nasty play for them to see. And happy that we got our snap in when we did. Very, very important. Especially with priority, they literally can't stop Legion. And I can't imagine they're going to play a set of cards that's going to make it so that we are unable to stop this. We see a fastball special come down middle, and we see a adamantium infusion. Well, I tell you what... If we go Grandmaster here, Legion right. We're going to move the Star-Lord middle. We're going to give him +4. That'll bring us to 12, which is going to hopefully get over top of the Laufey. So Laufey's going to... Here, okay. So Star-Lord's going to go middle. It's going to add 12. We'll be at 14. Laufey's going to die, and then Firehair is going to steal 2 more and gain 4. Well, golly, it might not actually be enough. Star-Lord goes middle. We have a 12 and a 2. They hit this. We have a 5 and a 2. Firehair goes off. We have a 1 and a 5 against their 4. This wins. I hope. I really hope. If I mess this up, I'm going to feel really bad. I'm pretty sure it's fine. I'm pretty sure we win middle by 1. Okay. Now, we do lose if they have Jeff. If they have freaking Jeff, we lose. But I'm going to really hope that they don't have Jeff. If they have Jeff, then we're very sad. But if not, we worked it out. The math is weird there. The math is real weird. All right. GG's. GG's. Way to find a win there. That was not easy. That was very not easy. I think that was the only play that got us a win with Legion. And it got it by literally 1 point. That's wild, man. Well, GG's, Moogs. Well played. Vincenzo. Welcome to the stream, Vincenzo. Best of luck to you. As is tradition, we're not going to do anything on turn 1 here. We're not going to do anything on turn 2 either. We are going to get Daredevil down on turn 3. This might be our first game where we're going to have to deal with the qualms of not drawing Star-Lord with this deck, which are real. Many people will say that it's actually not real, but it is. It is real. It happens not super often, but more often than you would think, for sure. We'll get Daredevil online here on 3. And then hopefully we'll top deck Star-Lord. If not, we'll start working out what our backup plan is. It might involve Wave next turn. To line up just a big card somewhere. It is looking like it's going to be just a Wave this turn. And I think we get it over on the right. I wouldn't mind winning right, I tell you what. They might have some Bar Sinister setup stuff, but I don't think I have to be too terribly worried about it. I think getting the extra energy here is going to be nice and positive for us, which we will not be able to do by a single point. Rough. So our opponent's going to get extra energy here, which is not nearly as good, unfortunately. And then we'll see if we get Star-Lord now. We do. All right, well, it's going to be Decision Central here. One thing about not having priority here, which is good, is that Prowler spells are kind of absolutely insane with Bar Sinister. So not having to worry about the spells coming down and causing a lot of ruckus, I think is really, really nice for us. There's a chance we just go Star-Lord left. Man, if we had won, we could have done Star-Lord Grandmaster left, which is honestly just disrespectful, to be honest with you. But Star-Lord left is probably going to be our play. Can't even get beat by anything like a Shidoking. I should have paid attention to the order, man. I should have paid attention to the dang old order. I cannot tell a lie. Okay, so they are playing Hydra Stomper left. They'll get 2 of them. They'll move the Silk. And then they'll get 2 or 3 Flight Harnesses and move all of them middle. It's quite interesting. Having priority here would be very nice. So I do think we actually opt out of getting an extra Star-Lord trigger to get our Jim Hammond on left to guarantee priority, which will give us several different outs. Yeah, I think we go Star-Lord left, Jim Hammond right. We're going to have basically infinite energy next turn to hopefully be able to beat up on our opponents. They're going to have a bunch of Shulaos, which is real scary. Actually, they won't have a bunch of Shulaos because we can Legion that away, and we will have priority here. Wow. Okay, we're actually in a wonderful spot. I maybe should have snapped that. I think there's definitely an argument that we should have snapped that there. Many Stomplers. Because Legion pretty much just wins us left for free. And our... I should have played it the other way to get Absorbing Man value. This is actually a pretty bad misplay. Always want to have the opportunity to get Absorbing Man value, I would say. Okay, the other 2 Flight Harnesses are going to whiff, which is nice. I guess if we had done it the other way, there's somewhat of a chance that we could have had the Silk pop over right, but we're going to have so much energy next turn that it's not really going to matter. The Jim Hammond's going to go over the top fabulously, I would say. Man, and they're fully locked in middle. Man, that is the worst possible position for them. I tell you what, that is just a horrendous position to be in. It's a lot of points, man. That is a lot of points, brother. I tell you what. I don't think they're going to get close to this, I would imagine. I think we will do the Absorb Man right, like, just in case. But this should be just lights out here, I would imagine. This should just absolutely be lights out. I cannot imagine how they ever overcome this. They might not even be expecting the Legion, and the Legion absolutely crushes them. Very nice. Victory. Very good game there. I think I played that well. Missed the Star-Lord on 4, but still gave myself outs for Star-Lord on 5. Worked really well with Priority and Daredevil. Man, this card really does bring the Priority fight to a really nasty conclusion here. Well played, opponent. Superman! I never knew that you'd make it into Marvel. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Best of luck to you here on the field of battle. Not much going on for us here. We are simply hanging out and playing Star-Lord on turn 4. Okay, this is looking like a mirror. I think these mirrors are actually really interesting, how they end up. Do I want to give them Luna Snow? I actually don't want to give them Luna Snow. Luna Snow is a huge liability to play out here. Reason for that is that if we play out Luna Snow, then we are floating that turn, but allowing them to float the turn as well. Is there any place that we can go that really wants to be in a good spot? Opponent snaps. I mean, they're going to have Daredevil. They're going to have Priority on that turn. It's going to be pretty tough to deal with. There's an argument to leave here, but I do want to play it out. So I think if you're in my position, seeing a mirror, your opponent has a clear advantage over you. Very good reasons to end up just leaving here. But I actually don't mind sticking this one out to see what happens. They play Star-Lord over on the right. I'm going to play Star-Lord over on the left. Both floating 3. Opponent's going to be able to see what we do here. Hopefully end up in a bit of a pick your poison style situation where we're kind of like doing multiple things that are harmful for them. And hoping that we can work it out later. So I think that we just play the Absorbing Man on the Star-Lord and then play the Luna Snow over on the right. We don't want them to be able to stop both of these. I mean, if they just have to take their turn to Goliath or our Absorbing Man, I actually don't think that we're going to be in that bad of a position. I actually wonder if even there's a reason to get the Jim Hammond rocking as well. I think there's an argument for it. I do think they're going to stop this Absorbing Man. I think that that's very, very likely. So let's just play the Jim Hammond also over on the right, and we'll see what we end up getting out of this. Again, definitely a position where we could be running, but this is going to put the pressure on my opponent to figure out a way to deal with this. There's a lot of things coming their way, a lot of things to think about. Thinking of next turn, if we only have 6... maybe a Zola middle is going to be a potential out for us. Maybe there's something we can work out with Legion that can be nasty. If we do get the extra 3 energy that we could be allotted, we might be looking at like a Wave Zola, Wave Goliath. It really depends on where Priority lands. I think it's likely my opponent will fight to maintain Priority here, but it really just depends on what their goal is and what their hand looks like. Don't mind where I'm at here, though. Like I said, I like throwing a lot of threats out there, spreading them out, and really kind of making them pick their poison, so to speak, as far as like where they need to fight us off, and make it much more difficult than you'd expect to actually fight for Prio here. I think it's actually like quite tough for them to do so. But it really depends on what they end up doing. Goliath middle, definitely possible. I mean, just Zoling their Star-Lord right could make a lot of sense. See an Abs Man over on the left and maybe a Cosmo middle. Be interested to see what they do. We see a Luna. Okay. So they made a very clear priority aimed play. Pop these ice cubes. Pretty close to taking Prio here. I do get an extra. We're at 10. Let's really take some time to think about this. I don't think Legion is super helpful just about anywhere. Maybe Legion left could be pretty impactful. There's potential for it. Opponent's going to have a little bit of extra energy here, so they actually are going to have 11 to work with. If they're going to play Goliath, where is the most likely place we think we'll play it? Maybe left? Left would make sense. It is hard because we're going to have to work out a way to not have our cards die right, and I don't really know what that looks like, to be honest with you. Tough game here. I think that there's a really good argument to just retreat. We don't have our Foom. Foom is usually like pretty important here. You know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to Zola right, throwing right. They're going to hope that we can sneak a win left with wave. This is probably stupid. Wow. What an awful situation we find ourselves in. Just not enough left to get over top. And we actually win for the lane that they threw. How unfortunate. Tough. I don't mind the idea there. I think that it's somewhat solid. I really expected them to do something on the right. I'm quite surprised that they fully threw right. Maybe they just thought, like, with Warrior Falls being how it was, they would be in a lot of trouble. But, I mean, with the Juggernaut play, we were going to be in a bad position. I definitely think I should have retreated. Really, I think that there were two good opportunities to retreat. The turn that they snapped as well as the turn that they... or the final turn there. But I just wanted to kind of play it out. I do think that hopefully you take my advice if you're playing and retreat in those opportunities to save your cubes. GG, Superman. Danny Flo, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Best of luck to you here on the field of battle. See an Iceman come out turn 1, missing the Star-Lord. Man, Star-Lord getting hit there would be not very good, I tell you what. We'll get Jim Hammond hanging out over on the left. Quantum Tunnel, if they are like a bounce style deck, is going to make it a bit annoying for them to deal with what they have going on here. And then hopefully we kind of push this Daredevil over on the right. The big problem with that is that we're not going to have priority going into the Star-Lord turn. But again, we're just going to have to really think about where they might play Cosmo or where they might play some kind of disruptive card and then try and play around it best we can. So we see Los Diablos base coming down, popping the middle location. An opponent does have priority going into the Star-Lord turn. Now, when I'm seeing my opponent have like Drax, Captain America, Iceman, this definitely seems like a deck that is targeting a Star-Lord player such as myself, which I try not to take offense to, but sometimes it's rather hard to. My idea here is to try and dodge a Cosmo or a Negasonic my opponent is likely to play. I think the most likely lane that they would play it in would be the right lane because I'm already winning left and they want to get ahead there. I think the second most would probably be left. And I think that middle is very unlikely. I tend to give my opponents the benefit of the doubt to play around Grandmaster. So I think I'm going to opt out of playing left or right and play the suboptimal play Star-Lord middle to avoid a counter. We'll see how we did here. See the Stardust come down. All right, so we did kind of cost ourselves a Grandmaster trigger in order to do this, but I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world that happened. We're also going to be able to get an idea of what our opponent is going to be doing. Is there a unit? Oh, okay. I was just going to say, is there a universe where Legion Grandmaster wins? And then I stared at Stardust and I said, oh, contraire. We simply can't do that is the thing. The thing is we simply can't do that. So with no way to re-trigger our Star-Lord, we're not in the best position here. The Zola is going to be ineffective for us. Opponent's going to have priority with 8 power sitting in the right lane. I think that we just play the Foom right. I think that Legion actually doesn't do anything because of the Stardust. I think that obviously we can't Grandmaster anything. And if we Foom right, we actually have the potential to then move the Foom middle next turn. And then hopefully be able to find a win through that. Especially if we find like Absorbing Man. Absorbing Man will go kind of crazy. Don't find Absorbing Man. That is A-okay. But how do we win? How do we win, maybe your main question here? The answer is I don't really have a good plan to do that, unfortunately. We're winning on the right. They can move the shield right. I'm trying to figure out what they would most likely be scared of. I think if they have a way to kill right, I'm in a really rough position. I actually don't think that we can win in that case. So it might just come down to slamming this Red Hulk middle, which also does not feel great. This Herbie is going to give them some extra points. You know what? I'm going to call this out and say I'm going to retreat here. I think that we're at 1 cube. My opponent is playing a pretty hard counter deck to what I'm doing. I think that we did get our Star-Lord, but we made some choices that were a bit suboptimal to try and avoid an early Cosmo, and they hit us with the later Cosmo. But well played to our opponent. We're going to retreat for our 1 cube here. call it a day. If I was going to play it out, I think I would play the Red Hulk middle. But I'm not trying to, every time I do this this series, to just try and, you know, play it out and just tell you to retreat. I think I want to show some restraint as well to protect my own cube rate and where I'm at an infinite. GG's Danny Flow. Tubesto Pasado, welcome to the stream. Best of luck to you here on the field of battle. Opponent is running Kang. That's not a very often played card, I would say, with Snow Guard. So there's going to be some kind of Quinjet style deck. Bit of an unfortunate Tillin there. Second Tillin we faced today, but maybe we can get lucky again. Wow, opponent gets Vic Hand online. They have a very, very solid start here. I think we're going to play Daredevil over in the Camelot location. And they turn off a Tillin for us. What an absolute legend. Thank you so very much for that. I appreciate it. Okay, we're in the similar situation here, right? Opponent might have Cosmo. Opponent has a lot of decisions with which to make for where to play that Cosmo if they're going to be trying to stop our Star-Lord. But I think I'm going to stick to my guns. I do think that playing Star-Lord middle when your opponent is blindly trying to stop you, and you have a sense that they might have Cosmo, which, you know, if you're playing this Kang-style deck with Victoria Hand, maybe you're playing things like Devil Dinosaur. Having a Cosmo to stop something like that makes sense, and also be able to fight back against that deck, it makes sense. We're going to play Star-Lord middle. Maybe if we had Grandmaster in hand, we'd opt to still play it left or right, but I think that this is going to be our best play here. I think we actually are going to snap into this as well. I think it's much easier for them to retreat once the Star-Lord comes down, as opposed to after the Star-Lord comes down. We'll see what our opponent can do here. Opponent goes right with King Eitri and the Snow Guard Bear. Very scary. Very scary indeed. So we do have Zola available here, and we're going to be able to see if we can use it or not. It's so nice having Daredevil, man. What a wonderful card you are, Daredevil. Get a view as to what our opponent is going to do to try and stop us, so we can avoid it. So we can simply avoid it. I mean, if they Cosmo middle, we can Absorbing Man. If they don't, we can Arnim. Problem with Arnim middle is that we are losing a lot of the value from like a pure power standpoint to the Star-Lord landing right in Camelot. So we'll have to decide if that's going to be the best possible play that we can do here. I mean, Absorbing Man Wave is also just really good, especially if we can guarantee priority. We can do the really nasty thing, which is hitting them with a Goliath everywhere, which is, to be honest with you, just a brutal play. So how do we get ahead? I believe it has to be... Okay, we're not going to be able to Goliath them everywhere. So let's kind of not think about doing that any longer. And let's just do what we can to get priority, which I believe is this. We'll get to 9-15. We'll be +8 here. We'll be tied here. And then we will be -7 here. So this actually does give us priority, which is really, really nice. I don't think there's any Legion mix-ups we could do that would actually be helpful. I think that they'd all be kind of bad. So yeah, I like Absorbing and Wave left, getting us priority going into the final turn. We're going to have +4 energy here, so we'll have 11. So if we don't draw Red Hulk, we'll be able to play some combination of like Grandmaster, Grandmaster Luna, or Human Torch, along with 2 of our big terrifying cards here. We only have 10. Why do we only have 10? Because 6 + 4 is 10. Because 6 + 4 is 10, you idiot. Of course it's 10. Why would you think it would be anything else, you absolute fool? So how do we win here? It does kind of suck that we only have access to 2 cards. That is certainly not ideal. I think that Goliath left very likely is going to give us a win left, and I think that Fin Fang Foom right is very likely going to give us a win right. So I think that that is going to be our play. I think that this is going to be the best way to go about it. We're going to be up by, what, 14 left? We'll be at 23. 16 left with an Goliath with no abilities available. I feel like that's going to be really hard to overcome. And then we're adding 24 power over on the right. We're going to be up by 17 there. That's probably, if there is going to be a breaking point where we lose, it's going to be there. But I'm okay with that personally. I think I'm okay with that. They go double middle. Zola something? No shot. Wait, even the doubler doesn't win. Oh, man. Even the doubler didn't win there. Dude, Kang Heimdall. What a nasty little play to finish it out. Well played, opponent. Yeah, like what I did there. I mean, it's really hard to I tell you what, I was never going to play around Kang Heimdall. But I think that our decision tree to get to where we were was really solid this game. GG's. Dad! Welcome to the stream, Dad. Thank you for being here. Make Dad make an appearance. You love to see it. Best of luck to you on the field of battle. I believe that means they have the 10 rings. That's what I saw. Yeah, they have an extra card in their deck. I think that the 10 rings... Shang-Chi, Master of the Rings, is the worst card in the game, maybe. That's not true. It's not the worst card in the game, but, like... I really do think that people don't quite... people don't quite give enough credit to how bad it makes your deck consistency. I know that if you've watched my content, you know I put out a whole short talking about Shang Math. I was trying to talk about Shang Math all over the place and try and have people understand why it's so detrimental to run a card like that in your deck. But, man, people just don't listen, dude. I tell you what, people just don't listen. We're never having prio here. We'll just do what we can. Instead of having any troubles getting things online, the opponent just gets it all set up and ready to rock immediately. Would you look at that? As always, we're going to be trying to play around a Cosmo here. How important is it to us? I don't think they ever play Cosmo right. I think we can go right here. We're never going to get priority anyway. Let's just go middle. With no Grandmaster in hand, we're never going to have priority. Wherever they play, we're going to lose prio. So I think we just jam the Star-Lord middle. I really doubt that we're going to see any kind of counter card go out there. So we get double deafening corded. How rude. We get hoarded on. Man, that's really bad for us. Ruins any Zola potential that we may have. I believe... I actually really like Absman Grandmaster left. If I was them and I was going to try and counter this, I think I would go for right. But I don't really base that off of anything. It's more just a vibes thing. So I'm just going to believe in myself. Sometimes you just got to believe in your own vibes. Sometimes you just got to believe in your own vibes, man. We get the Merlin down. So we get an Absorbing Man on the Star-Lord and a Grandmaster. Everything's looking great in the world. We actually get Prio here, I believe. And we get Prio quite easily. Isn't that wonderful? Opponent's going to go in here. We're going to have 14 energy with which to do as much damage as humanly possible. I tell you what, I kind of like Red Hulk Zola, right? I find it hard to believe that they can overcome that. I don't know what it would take for them to overcome it. 15 points left, I guess, is the pretty straightforward answer. Anything we can do with Legion to really help us? Not particularly. They didn't even set up their Prowler. Man, what are they up to here? I think that Cannonball is something that's something that we'll have to deal with. However, if they Cannonball middle might be a bit of an issue, but I mean the Red Hulk's still going to be freaking massive, man. Yeah, I think it's just Red Hulk Zola, right? I think it's kind of simple as. There is a chance that they can push over the top left, and that would really hurt. Man, especially with some combination of... Especially with, like, some combination of Prowler skills. That's actually a little bit scary. Like, double remote mines is 8. Wow, I'm actually really rethinking this right now. We go Red Hulk. Luna, Wave, Red Hulk. Prage. They need a lot of points left. Clea down the left. Shu Lao, not quite enough. The 10 rings, giving them +3. Not quite enough, baby. Let's go. Wow. Notably, both plays did win here, but especially seeing them having Zombie Horde, maybe that's just a play for them to get a superior Spider-Man online. Maybe I misconstrued this being a zombie deck, but man, sneaking out a 1-point win always feels really good. Well played, Dad. GG's to you. Crimzar, welcome to the stream, Crimzar. Best luck to you here on the field of battle. We're going to just kind of be chilling here. Not too much to kind of get down on the board. Opponent plays Pixie. All right, you want to see some energy cheat, man? Pixie is a way to get even more energy cheat than I can do. We do have Star-Lord available. That is a wonderful, wonderful start. We'll get Daredevil kicking over here on the left. Oh, man, we actually get priority going into this. Holy moly. Wow, priority going into this double Star-Lord is really, really hard for our opponent to deal with. I really don't care what they can do to us. I mean, obviously, like a Galactus is really scary, but at least we'll still get a single Star-Lord down to cause some havoc. Yeah, I'm fine with the Star-Lord here. I'm actually also fine with snapping. Yeah, I think this is a snap all day. If they Galactus, they have to Galactus left, and then we get to see what they do on turn 5. So we're actually going to be in like such a dominant position for that. Star-Lord pushes up here. We see Infinity Ultron coming out. Winds of Watum pushing our Star-Lord off. Man, cool play. Very smart. Then we see a temporal manipulation come down for our opponent. So didn't get the huge hit that we were hoping for. Only +3 here, unfortunately. And now we get to see what our opponent can do, as always. So we're going to be in a pretty solid position in that regard. One thing that we are missing out on is a way to set up a really devastating Zola, but hopefully you can find a way to get priority here and hopefully mess with what they're doing. I don't know too much that we can really affect with Legion. But potentially there's something there for this turn. I really doubted Zola right. Giving them access to Zola could be really devastating. But like Zola right and Grandmaster is pretty nasty. I mean, but we have to... You have to show us what... You have to show us first, man. You have to show us what you're going to do here. Okay, what do we see here? We see a Shulao. See an Infinity Mind Stone. We see a Power Stone. Okay, so they're just going to have the biggest Infinity Ultron of all time. That is rather scary. However, we can take priority here, which is really nice. We can take an Absorbing Man here, as well as a Grandmaster here. To push ourselves into position to have priority. And then hopefully we can get Goliath. And if not, then we at least have Fin Fang Foom, which can cause a lot of issues for us. Let me just double check that I played this right. So we get Absorbing Man here, Grandmaster. We'll give them a Grandmaster. I don't know how important that'll be. But I do think that it's going to be good to put ourselves in a position with Prio going into the final turn. Hopefully getting access to an Goliath here would be really, really nice. It's a very big Infinity Ultron. I would never tell you that that's not the case. We actually might have some really nasty stuff with Luna Snow here. So if their play is to try and beat a Fin Fang Foom by Zolaing away from it, we actually have some real nastiness that we can do here. So I think that my opponent's going to be playing Zola left. That's going to be my guess. So the way that we have a counter to that is to Fin Fang Foom left, get ahead of this Infinity Ultron, which is pretty nasty. And then we can stop their Zola from going middle with our Luna Snow. Play Wave just to push some extra points here to fight. Now, this could definitely still lose. There's definitely a chance this still loses to some level of tech or something like that. But to me, I really think that they're setting up a Zola line. And the way that that's going to be most told is if they don't play any cards middle. Now, the problem here is that if they don't Zola, they do have a way to just win with the Infinity Ultron. But I actually really, really like what we're doing here. We can even stop like a Grandmaster, which might be a play of theirs to push middle. We kind of stop everything. And this is going to be for 8 cubes. So this could kind of make or break my entire cube rate for this video. So excited to see what happens. Good luck to you, Crimzar. Good luck to you here. They did play middle, which is quite scary. We're going to take a very, very large Fin Fang Foom. Luna's ineffective. Wave not doing too terribly much. See a big Agamotto come down right, a Kitty Pride over on the left, and then images of Icon. It's going to hit Kitty twice. Is that going to be enough? It is! What a play! Holy moly, Crimzar. What a freaking play, dude. Never in all my years would I have expected such a devastating combo to come down. Boy, oh boy. That's crazy, man. Into the Yellowstone. I guess I should have thought about that card a little bit more, especially with having priority. It turns out our win condition there was taking the 50-50 on the Fin Fang Foom. That is a really, really tough position to land ourselves in. But boy, oh boy, Crimzar, that was a sick, sick play. Cannot say anything else about that. Rip cube rate for the deck, but man, if I wouldn't have it any other way. GG's, Crimzar. Red Knight, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Best of luck to you here on the field of battle. This would be game 9 here. So we still have 2 games to close this out. We did just have a very devastating AQ, and we've actually been very, very lucky with our draws of Star-Lord. So even if we miss Star-Lord here, I have nothing to complain about. We've been drawing him probably at a higher clip than we had any right to, I would say. What do we want to do here? I think we just push out this Luna Snow on the right. Not too much that we need to really be pushing. Not a great position as a Star-Lord player here. Obviously, not only not having Star-Lord in hand, but also facing down a nowhere over on the left is going to be a bit problematic for us. Not a great position to be in whatsoever, I'm afraid. What do we do here, you may ask yourself, when you don't have Star-Lord on 4? I think that Absorbing Man isn't the worst thing that we can do. Maybe an Absorbing Man Jim Hammond here. Start getting our Jim Hammond cooking at least a little bit. And then if we get Star-Lord, we still have a pretty devastating final turn ahead of us. We did not float for 2 turns, but it would still be 3 turns of float. And maybe we'll actually have some like nice little Legion plays that we can lock in on. There could be some nice Legion plays that we could lock in on with Shadowland to cause some problems. Man, dude, we played 2 of these decks. Both of them have been able to draw their Shang-Chi Master of the Rings. That is not what you want to see, unfortunately. All right, where are we at here? Still no Star-Lord. That's A-okay by me, though. I think we just slam this Foom right. I think if we slam Foom right, Jim Hammond keeps getting a little bit bigger. Decent chance to have Prio going into next turn. And then I tell you what, there's even a chance we go for that Zola line that we avoided last game. I think Foom right puts them in a really rough position to try and fight back in that lane unless they have the other Shang-Chi. Even a Shadow King makes it really, really tough, right? Because they're then kind of just deleting all of the power that they have. One thing I have to remember is that Shu Lao is most likely coming down here. Now, they are less likely to have Shu Lao than a normal deck because they're running Shang-Chi. That doesn't mean it's something we shouldn't play around, I would say, though. They played 6 cards. That's a comical amount of cards for you to play this turn. Polymorph that does nothing. Is this like Hip Monkey coming down, perchance? Are we seeing a Hip Monkey here? Like the biggest Hip Monkey you've ever seen? Oh, they're just playing a bunch of cards as a joke, it would appear. I see Kitty Pride coming down on the left. All right. We are going to be holding Prio here. With the Jim Hammond buff coming over on the left. Wow, Star-Lord, right on time, kid. Just kidding. Of course, nothing to worry about there with the Star-Lord, as I said before. I do think with Shu Lao, they're going to be able to get ahead right. However, the other thing I'm thinking is that what if we Eliath their Shu Lao? Has my opponent potentially thought about this? What if the Shu Lao comes down middle, and then we Eliath it and we kill it? I think it's going to be Sasquatch Shu Lao is what they want to have. But Elias is a scary card, man. Elias is a very scary card. I think they're going to need to use Shulao right to win right. So I don't think they would play a card and Shulao right to try and win right. No on reveals available to our opponent whatsoever. See the zombie giant man does nothing. We see the polymorph does something. But not enough, I'm afraid. Very, very nice. Way to get out of there unscathed. A lot of problems that we could have faced there, but we were able to just clip over the top, stopping that zombie giant man. You know, when you take over a lane with Fin Fang Foom like that, it becomes really, really tough to want to fight for it. And we were able to just squeeze out this zombie giant man. I don't know if they have both zombie giant man and Shulao. I would imagine they do, with how psychotic their final their turn before that was, where they played a billion cards. But man, no worries there. How are they able to play all these cards? I don't know, man. They got the -1 on that, so that's like 4. Something was surged, I'm guessing. I don't know, man. But I tell you what, we take those. GG's. That was it? That was game 10? For free? For free? All right, game 11 it is. Bear, welcome to the stream, Bear. Best of luck to you. Can I get a card with less synergy to my deck than speed? The world may never know. So we did just have a immediate retreat in our game 10, so we're doing a game 11 technically. But in my thoughts, this is essentially our game 10. This is where we're going to be fighting for trying to get either a Q positive record or a non-Q positive record. We have secured a winning record. We're sitting at 6-3 outside of that game. But we have not secured a record where we don't have any problems with cubes. Okay, double Luna Snow coming in. I'm going to guess that this is Man Spider on the opponent's end. Unfortunately, we don't have the means to Eliath it right now. But interesting to see where they're gonna Man Spider. I would imagine right probably makes the most sense, eh? I want a Legion middle for, honestly, like no real reason. I can't even think of like an actual good reason to do it. Wait, we do have Prio. Hold. So we just Eliath right? I think we just Eliath right. We won't even snap it. I think they're going to Man Spider right. Oh, man. Oh, what a world we live in. What a beautiful time to be alive. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure that's going to secure the bag for us. Maybe I'm wrong there. Who knows? But I will hit the snap button either way. I know that's right. GG, Steve Bear. I was a little scared to hit the snap button beforehand to force them to play Man Spider elsewhere. I think that your snaps are very telling of your play. I kind of forgot that the Jim Hammond was going to gain a couple power, but I tell you what, man, the one thing that you know against Man Spider is that it's pretty direct where they're going to play it most of the time. Like sometimes you have to be a little cheeky about it, but especially with somewhere like Sakar Grand Prix, you're going to be pretty sure that you know where the drop is going to come down, and boy, oh boy, that's just devastating, man. Eliath on 5 is scary. I tell you what, Eliath on 4 is even scarier. Man, and to finish out our last 2 games, getting a couple of wins without having to get Star-Lord really just shows the power of this deck, especially if you can work with it. So I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the deck. We ended up going 8-3 plus 2 cubes. Obviously not very good cube rate, but that 8 cuber, if you, I mean, obviously you're at the end of the video, you saw it. That's just what I will take 10 times out of 10. That was an incredibly well done creative play by the opponent. Hopefully that this gives you some insight on how to play Star-Lord a little bit better, or it might give you some insight on how to play against Star-Lord a little bit better. Either way, thank you so much for your continued support on the Overexplained series. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and let's jam out to that dang old song. See ya!